Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts with breaking news.
Well, breaking this morning, one person is in the hospital after an overnight crash. Officers were called to the area of 38th and Cass around 2:30 this morning. Police say one of the cars involved had fled a traffic stop. 2 kids were found at the scene and detained. Burglary tools were found in the car. An investigation is still ongoing this morning. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on First Alert 6 Streaming. I'm Cerise Cole, along with meteorologist Jared Lansford, Senior Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lord. We are off. You know, we had that wild weather last night. First of all, can't not talk about that. But man, just kind of a drizzly, misty. I feel like a Snoop. It's a Snoop morning. The drizzle. The drizzle.
I never thought. You're right. Good work.
Yeah.
Things aren't going to dry out today, unfortunately, when you have all this around.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. It's kind of a muddy mess. I'm thinking about junk stocks this weekend, those parking lots. And just the area around, probably going to be a little on the muddy side around the area. As we had 2.5 inches of rain in the east half of the metro, a little bit less in the western parts of the city, but still muddy nonetheless, and you don't dry out in scenarios like this. You can see some early drizzle, some clearing late, a few showers Saturday, and could even get a few storms on Sunday as well as we try to warm up a little bit. And that severe storm chance still there for Monday with the First Alert 6 weather day. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit. You'll notice there are just some pockets of drizzle moving through. It doesn't look like they're going to be all that heavy, but you can see just a little bit here and there as get a closer look on the radar. Quite a few clouds around otherwise. But I'm hoping we can get some late day clearing from the west, and that may help out a little bit. We'll see how it goes, but clouds likely went out a good chunk of the day today. We got an upper 40s, lower 50s at the moment, about 48 in Omaha, 52 in Red Oak, a little warmer down to the southeast, a little cooler to the northwest. And those north winds, they're 10 to 20 miles per hour right now, but we could have some gusts up near 25 at times this morning before they back off some this afternoon. So a little bit lighter with the wind this afternoon, but you will notice it from time to time. Hopefully that helps dry it out a little bit. By 7 o'clock in the morning and onward here, we're going to not move much this morning. I think near 50 to start, near 60 for an afternoon high. By lunch, we're up to 57, and you can see I'm hoping we can muster 60 degrees. It's all going to be hinging on any little pockets of clearing we can get after about 3 o'clock today. That may help matters just a little bit. By 5, we're near 60, and by 7, we're about 58 degrees. The clearing we get late in the day doesn't really help us warm, but it should give us a better feel to the end of the week. By 10 o'clock, we're pretty quiet, and then maybe a sprinkler or two overnight heading into Saturday. And again, another day where it's tough to dry. So we get some clearing to start. Clouds will build back in Saturday. Could have a couple spotty afternoon showers. Factor that in if you're heading down to the Husker games down in Lincoln. That could be, maybe interrupted a little bit by a brief shower. Nothing that's really, I think, going to wash it out. And then on Sunday, a few more shower and thunderstorm chances. You can see the rainfall potential through this upcoming weekend. A couple hit and miss thunder showers that may give us a little bit more, but we're not talking the amounts that we just had. We were talking about how some of those could get up near the 2 to 3 inch range. We had some of that last night for sure.
We needed all that rain. All right. Unfortunately, we could have some severe weather coming soon Monday, but folks need to know about it. What should they expect?
The main thing is I'm thinking it's going to be a short window because the storms are likely going to develop somewhere in our area or just to the east. So a large area being watched for severe potential, but storms may start in our area. It's not going to be anything that moves in from the west that we can watch move in, I think. It'll be something that develops over us and moves east. So potential for all types of severe weather with that. We're talking tornado, wind, and hail issues from some storms. Timing and specifics, those will be worked out as we get a little closer. But here's the area being watched, and you can notice here we're on the west edge of it. So that means they're likely to start here and then march east. It's not going to be something that develops out in central Nebraska and we can kind of watch move in. So it'll be growing in intensity likely as it moves east into central and eastern Iowa. So that's what we'll be tracking. It's going to be warm, humid, and windy. Likely get up into the 80s. South wind, you'll notice the humidity spiking on Monday, and then we'll take that out of the air heading towards the middle of next week with a lot of 60s and 70s in play overall. So that's what we're looking at here over the course of the next 5 days or so with that Monday being the one you need to watch the closest.
Okay, for sure, Rusty. We know you're on top of it. Keep us updated. Jared, I-80 has been just kind of a mess the last couple of days, and today's really no exception, just keeping true.
Yeah, it really has been, and it's for a lot of that time been the construction zone that's been the problem, and that's the problem again this morning.
Okay.
We're adding a little bit more of I-80 into
great.
the equation. That's what people want for their fresh money. Well, you're at least getting the first alert about it. So let's talk about where we're seeing the problems. And it's been kind of consistently as you're heading westbound around 72nd, 84th. Now, it actually does look a little bit better than it did just a little bit ago. This was kind of stacking up a little bit, and there was no real cause that was apparent to it. Just some busy traffic. You've got some drizzle that's out there, and with all the drivers out there, maybe people just kind of checking up a little bit. You can see the estimated speeds through the stretch, though, still sitting about 25, 30 miles per hour for much of that area, even a little bit slower as you're closer to 60th. So through that westbound stretch from about 84th to roughly 42nd or so, you're going to be expecting some slower travel. Be prepared for that as you head through that stretch. There was a crash earlier in that area. This was as you were approaching the 60th exit. This was on the left shoulder, so not in the lanes of traffic. Maybe part of the reason we have some of the slow travel as you're heading along I-80. Now, we do need to check in on the construction zones. You can see it's a little slow as you're making your way toward Giles. This is nothing new as you continue through that construction zone westbound. You're looking at those issues definitely being prevalent, and I do expect we'll flare up the eastbound issues as well as we get a little bit later in the commute. But when you're looking at the overall map, we do have this new slowdown that's showing up 680 eastbound right around Blair High. I'll have the latest update on what that's all about here in a little bit, but watch for that being an area where you have to check up. Most other areas are doing pretty well besides I-80, where you do have the issues there. Westbound in particular is where you're seeing the problem. So we'll continue to keep you posted with that and give you any updates that you need to know as we head through the morning. And I'll have the latest on the 680. That's a new thing that just popped up. So if that's a crash or what that's about,
okay.
We'll let you know.
We'll get an update soon, Jarrett. Thank you. We do have more breaking news this morning. 2 people are in the hospital after a different crash. Officers were called to 27th and L just before 10 last night. Police who spoke to our photographer on scene says it was a 4-car collision. One of the victims' injuries are considered life-threatening. The other victims are not. Also breaking this morning, 1 person is in the hospital after shots were fired overnight. Officers were called to 109th and Cottonwood Lane just after 10 o'clock. Omaha police say while there were shots fired, no one was hit. 1 person did end up hurt. They were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Here at the Safety Desk with our Maria Caden, there is a new study you need to know about, finding the U.S. could face millions of measles cases if state vaccination rates decline more. That's scary to think about.
For sure, and I mean, we've been talking about these measles outbreaks for the past couple of months. The study is coming out of Stanford, and the measles shots that most people get as kids, they are proven to be highly effective, but rates right now are going down. The study estimates that the current rates are below pre-pandemic levels, and researchers say that measles could become endemic if in the U.S., if vaccination rates don't improve. And that means it'd be present constantly, despite it actually being virtually eliminated back in 2000. So over a 25-year period, the researchers project that almost 900,000 measles cases could come about if these rates do stay the same for vaccines. Now, you should get that first dose when you're 12 to 15 months old. Then you get a second one when you're between the ages of 4 and 6.
All right. Maria Caden, live from the Safety Desk. Thank you so much, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Taking a live look at the CHI Health Center, if you can see it. The Supernova is going to play later there tonight. For now, though, it's a cloudy situation. It's kind of a drizzly gray start to our Friday. This isn't the kind of weather we love on a Friday, but it is Friday. But it's kind of going to be this way, Rusty.
Yeah, that's the way it's looking. Not a lot's going to change today. We'll try to warm it up a little bit. The overall feel of the day probably doesn't change a lot. You got some specks of drizzle on the camera lens here. We're right around 50 to start, up near 60 for that afternoon high. You can see the clouds around in the morning and maybe a few breaks in those clouds late this afternoon. I'm trying to be an optimist here. Hopefully we can end with a little sunshine out there later today, but it's probably too little too late to help us warm. So some spotty areas of drizzle. There's a little one here over the Midtown area, dropping down into Ralston, La Vista, another one up by Crescent. So not widespread, but there are a few on the map as they continue to meander on through, and a bigger picture shows all the clouds that we have. They're trying to break to the west, but these are going to be some thicker clouds. I still think the low clouds are actually going to win out today. So 40s out there for the most part, upper 40s. Got some 50s still hanging on to the east, and wind gusts out of the north trying to get up near 30 miles per hour at times. So these will be a little pesky this morning, gusts near 25, and then tailing off some into the afternoon where some gusts will be near 20 degrees. So your 10-day or your 3-day forecast shows got a couple more showers possible Saturday and Sunday. Now watch for this. If you're heading to junk stock, I don't think things are going to dry out very well, unfortunately. But you'll notice here, at least I meant for the ground drying out anyway, so it could be a little muddy, but you may get a couple more spotty showers built in during the afternoon on Saturday. Really spotty specks on the map trying to meander through, so it could have a couple little sprinkles there as we go on through. Same, I think, can be said for Sunday, where we get a few of those trying to move on through the area to the point where we get a couple maybe thunder showers. Now the bigger picture still looks like it's going to be on Monday, where we could have this batch of severe weather try to get started. Severe outlook shows we're on the west edge of it here, and that's why we've made it a First Alert 6 weather day. The question is, do the storms start to fire when the front is maybe right here on the west side of Omaha, or does it wait till the front gets a little farther east and maybe grazes our eastern counties and then moves out? And that's what we'll be trying to figure out over the weekend, see what models try to tell us as we get a little closer. But you can see the threats are there for 1 or 2 strong tornadoes, especially on the Iowa side. Wind gusts trying to form as well, and then the best odds for hail may be along and east of the Missouri River. We're going to be right around as the storms start. They won't be moving in from the west with this round, I don't think, the way things are looking right now. So there's how it's going. 65 Saturday, 71 on Sunday. We'll try to look at how this kind of marches through the day on Monday. My graphics don't lock up on me here.
They don't like Monday.
Apparently not. So there you go. Watch here as these thunderstorms try to fire. There you go, about 2 to 3 o'clock. This model suggests they'll pop up. That might be a little early, and then they're going to move off towards the east and out of here. So that's what we'll be tracking here over the course of the next couple of days. Where do those storms fire up, and then they move east very quickly, it looks like, by Monday evening, becoming more of an Iowa and Missouri problem.
Okay, so we are looking at your graphic that you have there. You've talked a lot about the severe weather threat for Monday. We haven't talked a lot about the temperature. Man, that's going to crank up, and it's going to feel hot out there as well.
You're going to notice if your maybe air conditioner isn't up to peak performance, I think, on Monday, because it's going to be working. 86 degrees. You got a south wind gusting to about 40 miles per hour on Monday. It is going to drag in some cooler air behind it, so it does get more comfortable for next week with a lot of 60s and 70s for highs. But notice that one day, still a big spike up into the muggy range on Monday with our dew points. And you may even start to notice it on Sunday as a little more moisture moves in. So be mindful of that. It's going to be a bit of a muggy stretch. We could put that 10-day forecast back up there for you so you can get a little better look at it. But that day really sticks out for many reasons. It's hot, it's humid, it's windy.
It's red.
It's red.
That's part of the reason, too.
Jared,
Captain Obvious
so
over there. But yeah, you did that, by the way. Yeah, we got to watch for storms in the evening.
All right.
Yeah.
So we now know a little bit more about that trouble on 680.
Yeah, it's a crash that we do have. It says you're approaching Blair High, and so you're starting to see real big backups as you're approaching this area. So yet another problem spot that we have. Let's take a look at what we're seeing, and you're going to see some emergency crews on the way to the scene on that one. You've got backups that are extending all the way out of the shot. You're actually looking from Fort Street north toward the crash. So these are all people that are trying to make their way northbound and are running into the big delays. So it's an area you can try to avoid if you at all possible can. You can use 90th to try to work your way around, maybe get to Blair High and then enter 680 from there if you can. But this is going to probably continue to build with those delays on 680 northbound due to that crash near Blair High. Not the only crash we have confirmed another crash westbound I-80. This is near 72nd, just a little bit past there on the left shoulder. You can see the delays that have built as a result of that all the way back to just past 60th is where you're seeing speeds that are in the teens now. So we are struggling with both of these areas where we have crashes. We zoom things out. The other delays are tied to construction zones. That includes I-80 westbound right around Giles, where we're seeing some of the biggest delays. But those two areas, 680 approaching Blair High northbound, as well as I-80 around 72nd westbound, where you're going to be looking at your biggest problems. We're going to continue to track that, but if you can help it, try to avoid travel in either of those areas. Cerise.
Sure appreciate the update, Jared. Thank you. A week after devastating hail and tornadoes hit eastern Nebraska, we had to deal with severe weather once again. As you can see in this video we're about to show you from Saddle Creek Road, a car was about halfway submerged in the flooded road. I mean, this is crazy, right? Crews were able to get this woman to safety, but it was terrifying. Officials say she did the right thing. Why? She waited in her car for help and did not try to get out on her own, because that could have been bad. All right, we do have to give a big shout out and a congratulations to First Alert 6's John Chapman, who received his face on the barroom floor at the Omaha Press Club. There was also a roast with our own Brian Mastery and Roger Hamer participating. John joins a celebrated group as the 181st face on the barroom floor. Congratulations to him. We are lucky to have his knowledge and expertise in our newsroom. Well, still ahead, we take a look at SNL's upcoming season finale, plus a fun show coming to the Orpheum this weekend when we come back. Well, this weekend, Lewis Carroll's beloved characters are coming to life right here in Omaha.
Yeah, the American Midwest Ballet's production of Alice in Wonderland is coming to the Orpheum Theater. Now, the show is inspired by both stories in the Alice in Wonderland universe, so the original and Through the Looking Glass. And this is a performance that we actually had 2 ballet performers come into the studio to do yesterday. Really amazing. The production features a mix of professional dancers from the A&B company and local dancers from right here in the community as well. Some of them are actually as young as 9 years old.
Wow.
So those professional company members, they come from cities from all over the country to be a part of the company. And the artistic director says that they serve as a mentor to the young dancers.
We're training the next generation of dancers, both through our school and through wonderful performance opportunities like this. And it builds community and skills, and hopefully they have a great experience.
Now, the show is happening Saturday at 7:30 and Sunday at 2. We're going to have all the details on tickets over on our website, firstalert6.com. But yeah, I came in the studio to watch, and I was amazed at their performance. I watched the whole thing.
They're really, really talented. And that takes a lot of skill, too, especially for the performer who was Alice. Erin, she was on point. So that takes a lot of skill and a lot of training to be able to do.
You have to see it. You should see it.
And hopefully Charlotte, my daughter, gets interested in ballet, because that'd be kind of cool to go see.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Saturday Night Live is wrapping up its milestone 50th season with a bang.
Yeah, actress Scarlett Johansson will have the honor of hosting the show's season finale May 17th. It'll be her 7th time as host. Aren't she and her husband the cutest?
Yes.
Right? Okay, singer and rapper Bad Bunny will make their third appearance as musical guest in the season finale. White Lotus star Walton Goggins will be making his SNL debut when he hosts the May 10th episode. Arcade Fire will be the musical guest. First, though, Abbott Elementary star and creator Quinta Brunson will be hosting next Saturday, May 3rd. You like that show. I know you and your wife watch that. Okay, keep going. Benson Boone is the musical guest. So, man, they do have jam-packed stars.
My wife works from home occasionally, and when I come home, it's Abbott Elementary that she's sometimes watching on TV, and I'm like,
that is such a clever show.
So funny.
It's so good.
Quinta's going to be great, and I'm excited for Bad Bunny to come back too. He's always really funny.
I like Scarlett Johansson too. They did good. They're all right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a great weekend. We're going to get ready for our update in the Today Show. You can watch it here on streaming or over the air. Have a great day, and again, a wonderful weekend.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Good Friday morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole. We want to get right to First Alert 6 traffic with Jared Lansford, who's first alerting us to several trouble spots this morning for that morning commute.
Got a few crashes that I'm monitoring, starting with 680 northbound. As you're making your way toward Blair High, you are seeing the delays in the lead up to that. First alert to that being a problem spot. You can see how things are checking up with the emergency crews on hand there on the right-hand side. So stay left, expect some delays as you're making your way there past Fort. Other crash that we have is on I-80. This is as you're going westbound near 72nd. This is on the left shoulder, so if you stay right, you'll be all right through this area. But look at the delays that are in place here with speeds that are down near 10 miles per hour in some spots. Might take L as your alternate route to avoid that. Rusty.
Thanks, Jared. A little bit of drizzle out there, too, not helping matters much. Don't have to worry about sun glare this morning, but you can see a little pocket here in western Pottawatomie County. A little bit more diving into Sarpy County. Bigger picture shows they're going to have that and maybe a couple of showers, but the clouds are going to be really tough to get rid of today, and I think they're going to reinforce as we go through the day. So low gray skies. If we're lucky, we may get some late afternoon clearing. That would be phenomenal. Near 50 to start, near 60 for the afternoon high. Again, the late afternoon clearing might be too little too late. We'll see how it goes, but overall, we'll just kind of struggle to climb through the 50s. Your wind gusts a little strong this morning, up near 25 miles per hour. Should back off some as we go through the afternoon with some gusts near 20 miles per hour. First alert to Monday. Keep an eye on this over the weekend. Potential for all types of severe weather, tornadoes, wind, and hail as storms try to start here. They won't move in from the west. They'll start in our area if they're going to impact us and then move to the east pretty quickly. Cerise?
Rusty, thank you. Breaking news this morning. One person is in the hospital after an overnight crash. Officers were called to this scene at 38th and Cass at 2:30 this morning. Police say one of the cars involved fled a traffic stop. 2 kids were found at the scene and detained. Burglary tools were found inside the car. An investigation is still ongoing this morning. It is 7:28. We are back with another update for you in about 25 minutes. We'll see you then. Have a good day, everybody.